Hello, this is my case study for EDL 856, and my name is Jack Sampel. First, we're going to have a summarization of this case study. The principal, myself, Jack Sampel, was concerned about the newly formed parents organization. One of the big reasons for this is they discontinued their affiliation with the National PTA. The new organization said that their main initiatives were to have more parent participation and community involvement. That's great, but the principal isn't super approving of involvement with big school decisions. He thinks that they should help out, but he's a little worried about kind of letting them be in the discussions of curriculum and teacher evaluation, things that they kind of want to start participating in. So both parties met to talk about the back to school night. And the principal wanted to keep the same structure they'd done in the past. That said, the president of the parents group said they wanted to change this. They viewed the previous back to school nights as more confusing than helpful. And the main purpose for the back to school nights was to learn their child's schedule, but parents sometimes left more confused. So the parents organization wanted a series of back-to-back school or back-to-school night meetings. Each night would focus on 1 to 2 subjects. This was to happen during conferences, and they also wanted that to happen during American Education Week, which actually takes place in November. And I think it's mid-November this year. So having a back-to-school night in November isn't really a good decision, but the principal's trying to hear them out. Parents are able to attend all the meetings. Teachers need to make their own individual presentations according to their content area for their night, plus be available for all the other conference days. The principal is then flatly ignored by the president when he tries to ask a question. The president of the organization also informed him that he formed committees. The new parent organization formed these committees, and the committees were broken up into 4 groups. They really focused on discipline, teacher performance, curriculum, and total school evaluation. These committees would try to meet regularly, observe conditions from the school, collect data from students, parents, and teachers, and they would issue policy statements on the need for change. A big task for a parent organization. That said, the parents were still hopeful that they could work cooperatively with administration. Now, cooperatively doesn't always mean collaboratively, but I think they wanted the administration to let them do what they wanted to do. Now, myself, principal, was surprised by this. He was not informed of these new committees, and he wasn't involved in them. He kind of was taken aback, and he thought it was crazy that they had committees designated to these specific crucial areas of education. And the principal, of course, is worried about the interference with normal school operations, being held accountable for poor decisions made, because the principal or the parents are making these decisions, but ultimately the blame and the responsibility comes down upon the head principal. And also, he's concerned about the parents not being satisfied with their previous roles. They were helping out. What's the big deal? So the principal ultimately needs to respond to the parents' concerns, and we'll get into that later with a selection of options. So legal issues, technically in the state of Kansas, there are no laws pertaining to family engagement or with the PTA that I found. I did some extensive looking, and I was not able to find anything. And this is technically also because they're not affiliated with the PTA at all. So even if I was to find something with PTA, it doesn't technically add up because they're not recognized by the National Association anymore. And no one has technically been harmed. That said, there are a slew of ethical issues. No one's technically been harmed. The parents are abrasive towards this approach. I think it caught the principal completely off guard. And I think that kind of hurt his ego a little bit. I know if I was in that situation and I was blindsided like that, I would feel a little worried and almost a little hurt by their actions. The principal goes in thinking that things are good and thinking that he's doing a good job, and then the parents are like, whoa, we have committees for all this stuff. So the principal is not welcoming of these new initiatives, and that possibly could be because of the abrasiveness of this parent organization. And also, another ethical issue that comes up with the changes of this organization is that there is a clear disconnect in that school with the families and the school. That means, in my opinion, what I can infer from this, or assume, excuse me, is feedback was not really requested from the school regularly. They weren't being proactive with their communication. And I think the parents felt that and wanted to make a change. They didn't necessarily go about it the best way, but I see where they're coming from. So, the summarizing sentence, the parents' organization want greater involvement with the school's decisions and policies. This puts the principal in a situation where he has to decide how much autonomy he should allow this organization to have. So, people facts. Really, there's not a lot of people that were stated in the case study, but I kind of summed up who was mentioned. First is the head principal, Jack Sampel. That's me. He's approving of parental involvement, and I think it's mostly of what he's known in the past of what has been their involvement. I think he's open to new ideas, but I think he's a little blindsided by the whole situation. And he's a white male. We have the president of the parents' organization. He's a young attorney. He feels like a change is needed in school. He identifies as a male. Excuse me. It mentioned several times he, so I assume that he identifies as a male. His race is unknown. And next, I have a group, the parents' organization. They believe change is necessary, left the PTA. They want a larger role in the school's educational decisions. And they have formed committees. The number of parents belonging to this organization, the gender, and the race of these people are unknown. Next, we have the place facts. There are no known elements, as far as I know, about location, physical conditions, demographics, and whether it's rural or suburban. That is not mentioned in the case study at all. Next, we have the program facts. There are many unknown elements at all, according to this as well. The curriculum, the type of program, private versus public, that information is just not stated. And it's not stated what grades we're talking about. But since the parents mentioned the back to school nights being content area focused, I think it could be a middle school or high school, possibly a older elementary age, maybe 5th, 6th grade if they incorporate 6th grade into elementary. But, that is all I can gather as far as program facts. Now, a review of this information, this situation could be damaging to a lot of the stakeholders, the principal, the school, and the district, because they work together, building blocks no matter where you're at. And also it could be damaging to the students, parents, and the community as a whole, because the parents are involved in the community and the parents want to be more involved with the school. And this could be a turning point on whether that happens or not. The parents and the principal are pertinent to this outcome. I have to contact the parents' organization in order to get the ball rolling and really come up with the decision. I also need to discuss the plan of parental involvement with the superintendent. There is enough information to make a decision right now. So first, let's look at the possible options and consequences that we have. First is to not make a decision at all. Take no action. This could become an uproar from the staff. This could be the parent organization coming in and saying they have all these ideas with curriculum, and they seem like they're very have a go-getting attitude at this time. And I think that can lead to a little bit of discombobulation from them. And this could be kind of stressful for staff all around. And the district could not recognize these decisions at all made by this parent organization. That said, we want to find ways for the parents to get involved. And this could also lead to poor decisions made from the parent organization. We have no idea what these parents do. They could be teachers in the district. They could have no experience in the world of education at all besides being students. And the principal could be reprimanded for these decisions that they make. Number 2, integrate myself and other staff members into the organization and various committees. The consequences of this: parents might not feel that they're trusted. The teachers might not want to participate. That's always something we have to think about. And this could lead to disagreements in decision making. Number 3, we need to ask the organization to disband immediately. And this is a possible option. The consequences for this: the organization and the administration's relationship will be tarnished, possibly forever. The parents could refuse, and this could mean no support in the future for the students. This could cause further confusion and apprehension among families. We could have community backlash. They could say, hey, parents are trying to get involved. Why aren't you helping this? There's 2 perspectives to every story. And the problem goes away, but it's not solved, if that makes sense. We're disbanding it, but we still have this disconnect between families and the school. Number 4, the principal resigns from his position. This would completely put the school and district in disarray, trying to, find a new principal. And I assume this is the beginning of the year, so finding a new principal right at the beginning of the year would be extremely difficult. Principal, me, is no longer employed, and it does not solve the real issue. So, an evaluation of the options. Number 1, not making a decision at all. There are a couple pros to this. We would have more parent and community involvement overall, and the parents are involved in the decision-making process. More than involved, they're taking over the decision-making process. This could cause an uproar in staff, as mentioned before. The district might not recognize these decisions. There's no school involvement in these decisions. With no cooperation, the parents and community could feel more disconnected, and poor decisions could be made from the parent organization, and the principal could be reprimanded or fired due to his lack of control of this situation. Number 2, integrate myself and other staff members into the organization. Parents are still involved in the decision-making process, but in a collaborative way. There's more parental and community involvement. The school is collaborating with parents and community members as a whole, and that's what we really want to do in our schools and our districts. Back to school night and parent-teacher conferences are up for discussion to appease all stakeholders. This best fits the needs for all stakeholders, in all honesty, and it gives every stakeholder accountability and ownership of this situation and the decisions. The cons, as mentioned before: parents might not feel trusted, teachers might not want to participate, and there could be disagreements in the decision-making process.